right, so chapter 4, I think I found my people. This is where we see Kathleen Kennedy for the first time, but we're also this is a cool one because now they're diving into, they talk about what they have to do between Empire and Jedi just to keep the staff together. And so they got to take jobs from Lucas's friends, like Spielberg. And
yeah, they have to take the jobs. That was made clear. Yeah.
Yes. So, and I really like that one. There's one of my favorites thing about this, and you and me talked about off air, Steve, was the implosion of the house from Poltergeist.
Oh, so good. Good.
That
Jamie, did you know about that? Had you ever seen that before? I didn't know that either, man.
I'm not so great on my history, like ILM history outside of the Star Wars movies, except for like Indiana Jones,
the obvious ones. Yeah.
So Poltergeist, not so much. So that was crazy interesting. But again, that's just them approaching a problem from a totally different direction that nobody would ever think of.
Yeah.
And it ends up looking amazing and like nothing else out there.
The fact they pull it with a vehicle through a tube, basically. That's
downwards.
Every piece connected by a wire and then down through a tube.
And then shooting shotguns to get it down the tube.
Yeah, when it wasn't budging, they'd shoot it with a shotgun. Yeah, so good. So good.
And it looks really good.
But again, genius.
Oh my God, it looks so good.
So good.
Okay, full disclosure, I haven't seen Poltergeist, so...
can we do? Oh, maybe we should do some horror movies for the
Halloween,
for the horror season that is now until Christmas.
Put it on the list. But so I really dug that one. I love how who was it again? Damn it, the one I've got my list of names here. I keep going back to, but it was Richard Edlin who was saying he's reading the script and he says implode, the house implodes, and he's like, that's a $250,000 sentence, sir.
Yeah.
That's the mindset. They know the value. And so they talk about the work that they do. There's that the big giant piano for the esophagus that was really cool, and Spielberg excited to play with that. But they also talk about Return of the Jedi and creating the Rancor monster. And I saw Reese in there in the shop, dead centered, his two heads. It was awesome. I was super excited. I was watching this, and Scott caught in the corner of his eye. And he was like, "Hey, Dad, it's you." I was like, "Thank you, I appreciate that." What I really dug about this one as well was they talk about the story of it was Phil and Dennis, their friendship together. It was a nice friendship that they have.
Yeah.
And
well, they met their prospective wife, or at least I think Dennis Muren's wife introduced her friend to Phil Tippett, and they ended up getting married, and they had a really close relationship.
Those two seem to be strong with each other, which is nice. We also look into sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say Dennis Muren. I think you covered that probably already, but it was just the fact that he picked up something about everything, similar to what Dykstra had in there, was the ability to get his hands on everything. But it's the same with Dennis Muren. If he couldn't do it, at least he would understand it and know what was needed, which really, I think, helps immensely to know what, if you need to find a solution to something and you fully understand how every single part of that mechanism works, that's a talent, man. That's such a talent.
Well, I think it's almost necessary for someone in his position, at least to be as successful as he was, because if you're having like a studio heads meeting to plan things out, you're probably going to have one, maybe two people from ILM, and that one person was probably Dennis Muren most of the time.
Yeah.
So you have someone in the room who can speak to almost everything that they want to talk about, and can provide estimates and like both time and dollar value in real time.
Yeah.
That's crazy valuable.
Yeah.
In this chapter as well, we look at Joe Johnston and how he's burnt out after Return of the Jedi, and George Lucas is like, okay, let me help you out. I'm going to put you through school. I'm going to keep you on half payroll, but I'm going to put you through school, and I'm going to help you get your career in film. And all of a sudden it leads to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and a whole bunch of other movies. And it's just like, that's the dedication. You know that Joe Johnston did a good job on behalf of Lucas to get that sort of respect and care.
I do love the way it went down, though. He's like, you know what, I'm done. He goes up to him and says, I'm gonna go and tour the world. I'm done. I'm burnt out. He's like, why would you want to do that? He's like, I need to reset. He said, why didn't you go to film school? It's like,
think about it.
yeah, you know what I mean? So, and the way they tell it is they know that he was right, and they know they yeah.
I love that kind of that personality trait on George Lucas starts to come through there, where he doesn't take no for an answer, but not how traditionally you would think about it, where you traditionally you say someone, oh, he doesn't take no for an answer. He's really persistent and almost to the point of being aggressive, very assertive, where George Lucas is very passive about it. And lets you almost think, by the sounds of it, that he's okay with you saying no, but he's just kind of more passively not really accepting no as an answer. I love that comes out in a lot of the stories. He's almost like just in a very quiet fashion, almost being like manipulating you into the right answer.
Yeah.
I
got a great quote later on down the road where he talks about the techies for CG and stuff. But speaking of CG, this is where we get introduced to John Knoll and his story about how his friggin' family's brilliant. Holy cow. I think his father's a nuclear scientist or rocket scientist or something like that.
And his brother invented Photoshop.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's kind of handy.
Yeah.
that came in handy, right?
What a clarity of vision on his part. At 16, he's like, I want to work for ILM.
And the story goes, he goes to California. His dad's got a convention there, and so he looks up ILM in the phone book, and calls him up. He's 14 or something like that, and says, I would like a tour. So his dad drops him off, and he gets a tour for the whole friggin' day.
Yeah, he spends a day there. His dad's just like, okay, have fun.
And then they go back to him when they needed him.
Yeah. Have fun storming the castle.
Yeah.
And then he gets into digital editing, and the whole talk about Photoshop, and Pixar is introduced. And so now we see them dropping the next kernel. I keep screwing up my metaphors, but now we see them leading into the technology revolution that's going to take over for the next couple chapters here. And again, I love how this is laid out. It's really well written.